What's up everyone, this is FP6 bringing you a bunch of different Master League teams today. The first two teams we're going to be talking about are in Open Master League, and then I believe I have 3 Master Premier Cup teams that we're going to be showcasing as well. So all of these battles were taken from my Twitch live stream last night where I was battling viewers for about 2 hours, trying out a bunch of different Master League teams so we could talk about it in today's video. This first team that I'm going to be showcasing is Kyogre, Dialga, and Togekiss, obviously in Open Masters here. Kyogre lead, I think, is pretty strong, obviously with the addition of Fire Punch to Groudon. Groudon is pretty common, and Kyogre is just a very strong pick overall. The waterfall damage is really strong. I like running Thunder if I'm running Kyogre in the lead for the possible mirror match. And then in the back, I'm going to use Dialga as my safe swap. Dialga, as we know, is one of the most present Pokemon in Open Masters just because it is so strong, and most people utilize it as a safe swap. I also have a Togekiss in the back, so say for example if my Kyogre leads into a Giratina or a Dragonite or another Dialga, then I have 2 Pokemon that can handle that. So that's why I kind of like this team composition here, and you'll see that happen pretty frequently here where I'm going to use Dialga as the safe swap. Typically, it is met with a Melmetal, and what you can do there is potentially save both shields for your Togekiss and allow that to sweep in the back. It's pretty common that you will run into at least one Dragon type in Open Master League. So this is kind of, this team has a fail-safe of if everything is going wrong in the lead and in the secondary matchup, you can save 2 shields for Togekiss and just see what happens, because you can almost guarantee if you have baited out a Melmetal that Togekiss is going to be able to have a lot of play, whatever the end game scenario is. So here you can see in this battle my Dialga is stuck against a Shadow Mewtwo. Shadow Mewtwo is absolutely busted. The Psystrike damage is just insane. Unfortunately, my Shadow Mewtwo is really terrible, so I don't want to commit resources into building that. So out comes my opponent's Dragonite. I'm able to get my Togekiss on it, and then I'm able to align my Kyogre with their Shadow Moltres. Shadow Moltres is a very spicy pick in Open Master League. Don't think it really has too much play. But I think my opponent was flexing their cool shadows here. So Kyogre shreds that. The waterfall damage really adds up even against things like Dialga with Kyogre because it's just such a strong move. But I'm able to take that game there. Kyogre into Mewtwo. Alright, Mewtwo lead is pretty scary to play out. It only takes 5 Psycho Cuts to get to a Psystrike. Today's video is pretty long as well. I think like 36 minutes or so. So we have a lot of battles to see. Let me know if you all appreciate the longer videos like this. I had a lot of footage and I did speed up the battles pretty significantly, so we should be able to fly through this stuff. I swapped in my Dialga onto the Mewtwo and then shielded up a potential Focus Blast, but they baited me with Psystrike, so I know that the Mewtwo in the back has some loaded energy. Now at this point, I'm going to have to let this go. I was hoping that they would try to Fire Punch bait me, but it doesn't happen. If I were to double shield there, I would have been able to regain switch advantage. But I'm not sure how important it would have been in this match. This is just going to be a Fire Punch. I'm able to waterfall down the Groudon. I'm anticipating like a Dialga coming in and farming me down. But it's their own Kyogre, and this is very, very bad. Because in even shielding scenarios like this, the waterfall damage from Kyogre really adds up. And it's able to get to Surf way faster than Togekiss can get to any moves here. And I know that the Mewtwo in the back still has stored energy. There's the Mewtwo. The Psystrike is going to be able to take out my Togekiss. Mewtwo lead is pretty scary to play out for sure, because it's just so spammy with those Psystrikes. Alright, this is a pretty bad lead. Obviously leading into a Dragon type is not good, but I use my Dialga safe swap. It's met with a Metagross. Now I prefer Thunder on my Dialga, and it's specifically for the Steel matchups. If I'm using Dialga as a safe swap, Thunder hits for consistent neutral damage and doesn't debuff your attack, where Draco Meteor, which I know a lot of people enjoy running, does hit for stronger damage than Thunder, but it drops your attack. And so especially when Dialga is stuck against a Melmetal or a Steel type like Metagross, I like Thunder for the more strong neutral damage. You can see I was able to win back switch there against the Metagross. I have to shield at this Wild Charge, and then out comes a Kyogre from my opponent. I'm just really hoping that they're not running Thunder, but they were one waterfall ahead of me, so I should have been able to recognize that, and of course they're running Thunder. So this is very bad for me. Even though I was able to regain switch advantage, their Kyogre in the back is just going to be able to shred my Togekiss here. And they're actually going to be able to get to another Thunder and be able to take out this Togekiss. But I was able to regain switch advantage, so it gave me a little bit more play in this game. So good game there. Now we're going to be taking a look at this next Master League team. This is Giratina Origin, Mewtwo as the safe swap, and then Melmetal in the back. So Mewtwo is pretty much always going to be the safe swap here, and I really prefer it with Psystrike and Focus Blast. I know there's a lot of talk about people running Psystrike and Shadow Ball, but I really think Psystrike and Focus Blast is the way to go because you have one-shot potential with Focus Blast against the Steel types like Dialga and Melmetal. You obviously need to have Psystrike because it's such a powerful move. So I really prefer this moveset. Giratina Origin is a pretty strong lead as well. Really the only things you need to look out for are like a Snorlax, which how often do you see Snorlax in Open Masters? Not too frequently. And also Dialga and Charmers. But luckily even against Togekiss you're able to hit for neutral damage with your ghost type attacks. I'm running mine with Shadow Ball and Ominous Wind for the mirror match, and if you're running this team, I would recommend having Giratina Origin best buddied to guarantee that you can win the CMP ties. And that allows you to pretty much just go straight Ominous Wind there and guarantee that you'll be able to win the CMP ties. So typically if you have a favorable lead with your Giratina Origin, people will swap in a Dialga, and so that's why having Melmetal in the back is really nice. You're going to be able to punish those Dialga switch-ins. And if you don't have a favorable lead, utilizing Mewtwo as the safe swap is pretty nice there. You can either come out of there with a shield advantage, or you can actually regain switch if you're able to land the Focus Blast on most likely a Dialga that's going to be coming out. So in the Melmetal mirror match, luckily shields are down, so I just need to land one superpower here, and that should be able to take out their Melmetal. And my opponent led with a Garchomp in this matchup, which was kind of wild, and they baited me with Sand Tomb like the whole time. It's crazy. Good game there. Giratina into Rhyperior. Okay, so is it Mud Slap or Rock Throw? We don't know because they didn't throw a move. Melmetal is a very solid response to Dragonite, which is great, so I want to leave this matchup with as much stored energy as possible to also be able to throw a superpower on the Rhyperior. I still don't know if it's Smackdown or Mud Slap, but typically, also that's a Hyper Beam Dragonite, that is some next level spice, but typically Rhyperiors in Open Master run Mud Slap for the Dialga and the Melmetal matchup. But out comes the Rhyperior again. I'm throwing this superpower immediately so they can't farm up as much. They let it go, and then they switch in Hydreigon. I don't have a response to it, so I'm just trying to get to this next superpower, which I'm able to do, and it lands, thank goodness. This is really tough. I actually am going to bring in Giratina here. Even though the Dragon Breath damage is hitting for super effective, the Ghost type attacks are only single resisted on Hydreigon, whereas the Psychic type attacks from Mewtwo would be double resisted because of that Dark typing. My Shadow Ball gets shielded up, which is horrible, but if I threw the Ominous Wind and it didn't get shielded, that would also feel horrible. So I throw the Ominous Wind there. Now luckily the Hydreigon is going to be in Psystrike range, even though it's double resisted. I knew the Rhyperior was coming out again, so I overfarmed just a little bit. I really did not want to be hit by a move from the Rhyperior. And then I'm going to be able to just barely get to this Psystrike before the Hydreigon is able to get to a Dark Pulse. and going to be able to take that game. Hydreigon is a very spicy pick in Open Master League. You really don't see it too often, but it's pretty interesting. This is a favorable matchup for Giratina, but as you can see, we're starting the game off with massive lag. You love to see it. The servers in this game are absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with them at all. No, that's total sarcasm. Hopefully Niantic will improve it at some point. We will see. But this matchup is favorable for Giratina. I like to go Shadow Ball, and then most likely they don't shield the first one, and then you can just go Ominous Wind and farm down and have some stored energy coming out of this. So I'm going to throw the Ominous Wind here. It's not enough to take it out, but then I'm able to get a little bit of farm, and you're going to get hit by this final Rock Slide from Melmetal anyways, so I have less health to be farmed. Out comes Dialga. Pretty typical. I'm able to meet this with my Melmetal. Now this matchup does require a little bit of finesse. Neither parties want to throw their move right away. My opponent makes a catch on their Landorus, which is a really nice play. I still have stored energy on my Melmetal, which is good. Gonna go straight for the Psy Strike here. Landorus has access to Mud Slap as the or Mud Shot as the fast move, so it generates energy very quickly. And then I get baited with Rock Slide. Feels terrible. I really should shield this up right here, but I don't. Really bad move on my part. They land the Earth Power. And then, because our switch clocks are desynced, my Mewtwo gets farmed down. Absolutely terrible. And I can't shield that up because the Earth Power from the Landorus is way more threatening. But I have to debuff myself to land these superpowers. Right here, I do have to shield this up, and I'm very worried that Rock Slide is not going to be enough. So I throw another superpower, which double debuffs myself, and then as you will see, even though I'm able to get to this Rock Slide because I was good with my energy management, it doesn't matter. Because it's just not going to be enough to take out the Landorus. Even if I was single debuffed, I probably would have had a little bit more play there, but that was a tough scenario because the switch clocks were a little bit out of sync. My opponent played very well there. Good game. Giratina into Groudon. This is a fairly neutral matchup. I don't think it's worth it to bait with Shadow Ball. And on the other end, I don't think it's worth it to bait with the Earthquake. So they make a really nice catch into their Dialga. But this Shadow Ball lands and guarantees that I only have to land one superpower on the Dialga. So that's why I'm just throwing this right away. So they let it go down. Now Groudon's going to come out and farm an unbelievable amount. This is most likely a Fire Punch, and then they should Mud Shot me down. That's their best play. I'm going to be able to land two superpowers on this, but it's just really going to do hardly any damage, and Groudon is going to come out of here with so much loaded energy. We saw Groudon in the lead, we saw Dialga in the safe swap. Not too certain of what could be in the back, but if this is an Earthquake, it's going to do a lot of damage. It does. I'm saving two shields for Mewtwo, and unfortunately, it is a Togekiss in the back. I actually really like this team comp of Groudon, Dialga, and Togekiss. I think it is very, very strong as well, because how often do you see a Dragonite lead in Open Masters? Really not too common. Kyogre lead is fairly common, but again, you have two things in the back that can kind of hang with that. So I definitely think like Groudon, Dialga, and Togekiss is another possible team comp that you could try. I'm barely not able to get to that Psy Strike there. But luckily I saved two shields for my Giratina, and my opponent is just going to spam me with Fire Punches. All I need to do is get to this Ominous Wind, and I'm barely able to clutch out this game, despite my opponent making really solid plays and catches. Good game there. This battle is against Chrome PvP, another content creator on Twitch. So favorable lead for me. There's the Dialga safe swap. Always look in the top right corner for the typings to make those lightning fast swaps. So when my opponent doesn't throw energy with Dialga, I like to throw a Rock Slide first. Even if this is a Thunder or a Draco, I still didn't need to shield that up. Now I'm going to go for the superpower. And he correctly shields it up, so nice play on his part. I will shield up this Iron Head just to guarantee that I can get off 2 more superpowers. So I might lose switch here, but it's not that big of a deal because Mewtwo with an energy and shield advantage cannot be stopped. So I switch in my Mewtwo right now to avoid being farmed down. I'll shield up whatever this is. If the Kyogre comes back out, I just need to double Side Strike it, which I'm able to get there. Mewtwo wins every CMP tie in Master League, which is great. So even though the Kyogre had a Surf stored there, I'm able to land this Side Strike. If the Dialga comes out, I'm able to Psycho Cut it down again. So we'll have to see what's in the back. It's a Togekiss. This is a little bit scary. I'm going to land this Side Strike, and then my Melmetal is too low in health to really do anything, so I switch in my Giratina. I'm able to get to this Shadow Ball before the Togekiss gets to move, which is really good for me. I was worried that they would potentially catch on the Dialga, but I was able to Shadow Claw it down. Good game. All right, we are in Master Premier now. This is a very typical team that you will see everywhere because it is so strong. Dragonite Double Steel is a very strong team. Metagross is pretty much the safe swap here. And Magnezone in the back, very powerful. This team was everywhere last season, and I think it's going to be common again this season. I think this team comp also works really well with a Haxorus in the lead. I don't have a Haxorus built just because it's such a rare Pokemon to get a good IV one. But if you have a Haxorus already built, I actually think Haxorus Double Steel is even stronger. Haxorus is one of those spice picks in Master Premier that is just really freaking good and pretty rare to have. So but this team comp is pretty straightforward. Obviously Dragonite's worst matchup is against the Togekiss, so you complement it with 2 steel types. Same thing with Haxorus, so you complement it with 2 steel types that can really hard counter that Togekiss. Magnezone is such a powerful pick. Really, all you have to do is look out for Garchomp, but when you get switch locked against a Garchomp, it feels terrible. And Metagross, as we know, in my opinion, is the best Pokemon in Master Premier. You can put it in any role. You can put it in the lead. It's one of the safest leads, or you can use it as a safe swap, because with an energy or shield advantage, that thing just goes off. So this is really not good. The Powder Snows are hitting for double super effective. And even if I were to try to shield here, Dragonite is just not going to be able to take this matchup if my opponent shields like that. So they do throw energy here. I could have possibly shielded and forced both shields out there, but I'm going to bring in my Metagross and get a nice jump start on the farm here. Have to shield up the Bulldoze. Most likely, yep, out comes a Gyarados, and as you will see, this is a perfect hard counter team to the Dragonite Double Steel. Mamoswine handles Dragonite very well, and with that stored energy can also threaten the Bulldoze on Metagross. Gyarados is one of the best responses to Metagross because it resists all those moves. And then Garchomp is the hardest counter to Magnezone. So this is one perfect example of a team comp that perfectly hard counters the Dragonite Double Steel. So definitely something you could consider. Mamoswine, in my opinion, is kind of underwhelming in Master Premier. I know some other content creators have had a lot of success with it. Maybe I need to try it out a little bit more, but in my opinion, it's just a little bit underwhelming, a little too glassy. And this Gyarados is unfortunately going to be able to take out my Metagross here. The Crunch is able to hit for super effective damage and take me out there. Good game. Let's see. Oh man, it looks like I forgot to cut out this section here, so you get to watch the QR code get scanned. You're going to run into a lot of Dragonite mirror matches, and so if you don't have the best buddy Dragonite equipped, you might not win the CMP tie, so you kind of have to decide whether or not how you want to play that. This is a terrible lead, so I'm going to use Metagross as a safe swap here. Out comes an opposing Metagross. So I have the energy advantage. All I need to do here is maintain alignment, and this should be a pretty straightforward game. I successfully get the bait, which is great. I'm going to shield this up. My opponent also successfully baits. I only had like a 2 bullet punch energy advantage, So my opponent calls the bait here, which is a really heads-up play on their part. Because now I'm essentially not going to be able to win this switch advantage. I can't farm it down. They're going to be able to get to... I could have potentially farmed it down, honestly, because I don't think they would have gotten to an Earthquake. They would have gotten to a Meteor Mash. So now my Dragonite gets stuck against the Togekiss again. We still don't know what's in the back. So that might have been a misplay on my part. Obviously, the fact that my opponent called one of the Meteor Mash baits really put me in a tricky scenario there, but... So I farm up as much as possible and then throw this Meteor Mash, but I'm probably going to get farmed down by the opposing Metagross. Oh, it's a Garchomp in the back. You'll love to see it. That's another hard counter team to the Dragonite Double Steel. Good game there. Dragonite. Okay, Dragonite Mirror Match. Mine is not a best buddy, so I will lose the CMP tie. So you could either no shield this. I am going to shield this, but you could also no shield and then farm with your Metagross, which I'm going to lose this opening matchup anyway, so unfortunate that my Metagross doesn't get as much farm as I would have liked, but I should be able to get 2 bullet punches. Oh, they actually give up switch advantage right there, so I'm going to stay in. Going to stay in here. Snorlax is a pretty solid safe swap in every league. If they're running Earthquake, yeah, they are running Earthquake. Typically, it's kind of up in the air on what moveset you should really run on Snorlax in Open or in Masters Premier. Superpower is nice for the Meteor or for the Mirror Match. Mirror Match, oh my gosh. Superpower is nice for the Mirror Match. Earthquake is nice for the Steel types. So it's kind of just, you for sure need Body Slam there. Heavy Slam is nice for Togekiss, like Outrage is nice for the Dragons. Skull Bash is nice for the memes and the defense boost. It hits for a lot of damage. So it was a Magnezone in the back, so they're able to take me out there. Good game. Alright, here's another Master Premier team. This is a very solid hard counter team to Dragonite Double Steel. So if you want to hard counter Dragonite Double Steel, which is going to be everywhere, again, this team does that job very well. So Togekiss in the lead, Snorlax as the safe swap. Again, this moveset on Snorlax is really up for debate. There's a lot of viable movesets there. And then Swampert in the back. So Togekiss hard counters the Dragons. Snorlax does very well against Metagross, and Swampert hard counters the Magnezones. So I'm able to maintain alignment here. Shiny Conkeldurr is going to come out and farm me down. Conkeldurr does have access to Stone Edge, which will hit Togekiss for super effective. So I'm most likely going to have to commit a shield here, because it's going to hit for a lot of damage. They most likely switch out right here into Snorlax. So I'm going to stay in here because these charms are really adding up, and I need to burn some shields and chip this down. Was going to switch into Swampert there, but I'm actually going to preserve this and just get more charm damage because it's just chunking this Snorlax so much. Gonna get to this flamethrower, gonna try to burn that last shield, but they actually let it go, and then I'm able to charm it down, and the Conkeldurr is gonna get charmed down as well. Good game there. Togekiss against Dragonite. Again, hard counter city. Out comes Metagross. Metagross is a very typical safe swap in Master Premier, and my Snorlax is able to get aligned with this. I like to commit an early shield on the Snorlax just to guarantee that I'm going to be able to maintain switch advantage here, and I will be able to come out of this matchup with a little bit of energy. I was doing a pretty good or a pretty bad job of keeping track of my opponent's energy. I could have possibly farmed this all the way down, but I really didn't want to get hit by another Meteor Mash. I was interacting with the chat and getting distracted, so could have possibly farmed it down there. But out comes the Togekiss. I'm at least going to be able to chip this away. Oh, out comes Togekiss. So we haven't seen that. We know that they still have a Dragonite. So this means that my Swampert is able to get aligned to the Togekiss, which is really good for me. And then my Togekiss is going to get aligned with Dragonite, so very solid alignment there. Just going for the Hydro Cannon here because it's essentially going to be just enough to take out the Togekiss. I store up a Hydro Cannon before leaving, which is kind of a stupid play. Really no point in doing that, because that just gave the Dragonite extra energy there. I do correctly shield up the Hurricane, which is good for me, and then I just need to get to a move here. Gonna get to this Flamethrower. Even though Ancient Power hits for super effective damage, it does less than a Flamethrower because Ancient Power is so terrible. But I'm gonna be able to survive whatever this is, and then charm down the Togekiss. Very solid counters in that game there. Good game. Togekiss and Rhyperior. Is it Mud Slap or Smackdown? It's Smackdown, which is not good. I have to get out of there. Going to use my Snorlax as the safe swap. Out comes Dragonite. If I had Skull Bash or Outrage here, I'd have a little bit more play. But I'm bluffing a big move, but I just have Body Slam here, so. Now, Togekiss into Smackdown Rhyperior was really not good, and I know that if I can somehow get my Swampert onto that Rhyperior, it's going to be great. So I have to commit both shields to regain switch advantage, which feels terrible, but at least if the Rhyperior comes out, I'll have a superpower to threaten it. It's actually a Garchomp, so this is beautiful because Togekiss walls Garchomp. But I think as you will see here, this Garchomp has kind of a spicy moveset. Fire Blast from Garchomp will obviously hit for a lot of damage, but it definitely doesn't one-shot Togekiss. So this Garchomp has a bunch of energy. It's able to land the Fire Blast. And then there's the swap. I'm able to get my Swampert aligned with this Rhyperior, which is really good for me. They have Stone Edge, so they don't have the Community Day move of Rock Wrecker. Could have also surfed me there and preserved a little bit of energy, but they might not have this double move. I think my opponent is pretty under-leveled here because a lot of the Pokemon aren't maxed, but still puts up a really good fight. This Surf should, or this Hydro Cannon should be able to take out that Garchomp. Able to regain switch advantage, and that allowed me to win that game there. Good game. Togekiss into Dragonite. Dragonite leads are going to be everywhere. Out comes Mamoswine. I was fairly quick to this swap, but I do want to shield just to guarantee that I can maintain the alignment. I'm totally fine committing an early shield, and I know that my Swampert will be able to keep up with this Mamoswine as far as the pace goes here. Hydro Cannon will hit for super effective damage because of the ground typing of Mamoswine, but the Avalanche hits for very strong neutral damage. They go for Bulldoze here. Avalanche is definitely the move that you want to go for. That allowed me to farm up a little bit extra and then throw the Hydro. It takes out the Mamoswine. I'm anticipating the Dragonite coming out again. I'm going to be able to land a Sludge Wave on this. I do prefer Sludge Wave on my Swampert to have some neutral damage against Gyarados and Dragonite. But Earthquake is also a decent option. I think my opponent accidentally made a mistake here, and they put Kyogre on their team for for a Masters Premier battle here, but you can see how Snorlax handles Kyogre here. Snorlax is not happy having to deal with this legendary whale right here, but the body slams are adding up, luckily. And I still have my Togekiss for the Dragonite, so this should be pretty solid here. Out comes the Dragonite here. Probably going to get hit by a Hurricane. But Togekiss barely survives it, and I'm able to charm down there. Good game. Alright, final team of the video. If you have made it this far, thank you everyone for sticking around. This is another Master Premier team. Machamp in the lead, Gyarados, Waterfall Gyarados as the safe swap, and then Metagross in the back. So obviously Machamp does not appreciate seeing the Charmers, so Waterfall Gyarados can really put up a fight against Togekiss, and then Metagross obviously is a pretty hard counter to that. Machamp can also have play against Dragonite because it has access to Rock Slide. It's going to be hitting for super effective damage. Obviously the back line here is pretty weak to Magnezone, but I think Gyarados as a safe swap is super nice. Gyarados is a nice punish too if your opponent switches in a Metagross, and I especially like the waterfall damage of Gyarados, because even if a Magnezone comes in on the Gyarados, if they kind of play that incorrectly and throw a wild charge too early and you're able to shield it up and land an Aqua Tail, you can totally regain switch advantage there and take out the Magnezone, because the waterfall damage is so oppressive. So I'm throwing these cross chops. Out comes Mamoswine, so Machamp is just going to town here, able to get to another cross chop. And then I believe my opponent led with Garchomp. Always a scary matchup to play out, because if you get baited with Sand Tomb, it feels bad. I knew this was a Sand Tomb and I survived. Then I switched in my Metagross to avoid it being farmed down there. I know that this couldn't be an Earthquake because I've already seen Sand Tomb, and so I'm able to Bullet Punch them down. Good game. Machamp into Gyarados, okay. This isn't the best scenario here. I could potentially stay in here and like try to bait. Obviously Rock Slide is going to hit for a lot of damage. The Gyarados does outpace Machamp to the Aqua Tails versus the Rock Slide here. So I get a shield, and then I bring in my own Gyarados to mirror. Obviously this is still not a positive matchup for my Gyarados, because their Gyarados was running Dragon Breath. So Dragon Breath Gyarados really helps out in the mirror match. But they switched out anyways. And then I kind of want to leave this Snorlax with as much health as possible, so I just stopped charging. I really want them to commit energy to take me out so I can farm them more with Machamp. But they are not taking the bait. They farm up extra, which sucks. I bring out Machamp. Luckily, I don't get hit by another Body Slam. And then this is brutal here. I definitely could have shielded this up and but I knew that the Gyarados had so much energy stored up that I would have had to burn both shields. So I had to just let it go. Now I'm going to farm up as much as I physically can with my Metagross here. I'm wondering if they're going to let their Gyarados go. They do. In the back is the Shadow Machamp. Freaking bummer for me. Shadow Machamp with a shield is going to be able to get to this cross chop and take me out. I think I was 2 bullet punches away from getting to the Meteor Mash, and if I remember correctly, Metagross does win the CMP tie there. But really nice play from my opponent. Could have stayed in against that Gyarados. Probably should have stayed in against the Gyarados. Okay, this is not good. I'm going to use the Gyarados safe swap here. Out comes Dragonite. So this is where having Outrage is really nice, because I don't have the Dragon Breath damage to hit for super effective on Dragonite. Pairing Waterfall and Aqua Tail with Outrage I think is really a solid moveset there. The Outrage connects, and I'm able to regain switch advantage, which this is going to allow my Metagross to align with the Togekiss. Really solid hard counter. So even if I get hit by a Flamethrower, it's not that big of a deal, but I'm able to farm them down. It's a Excadrill in the back. I'm just going to go straight for the Meteor Mash to burn these shields here. Even though the Mud Slap is hitting for super effective damage here. Okay, I was really anticipating that they would double shield and farm me down. That was definitely a play that they could have done. But now the counter damage is just doing way too much to Excadrill, and so I'm able to take that game because I was able to regain switch advantage with that Gyarados. Oh, Haxorus. Oh, freaking Haxorus, man. It wins the CMP tie against Machamp, has access to counter, Dragon Claw, and Night Slash. And it gets to the Dragon Claws at the same speed that Machamp gets to Cross Chop. So I was trying to catch something on my Gyarados, but that did not happen. And then my opponent kind of brought in their Metagross here, which I think was a misclick, and I think they actually told me afterwards that it was a misclick. But I do get hit by a Psychic, which is terrible. But you're gonna see just how powerful Gyarados is against Metagross here. I didn't shield up the Psychic. I'm up in shields. And I'm able to farm down the Metagross, so regain switch, and I'm up in shields, which is an amazing scenario for me. Yeah, because they had Magnezone in the back the whole time, so it was definitely a misclick. I'm going to bring out Machamp here and go for the cross chop. I know that they're, I know I was going to get farmed down there, so I switched into my Metagross. Probably should have switched in sooner. Oh, the Wild Charge lands, which is not great. I knew that the Haxorus had a move stored, so I had to save a shield for that. I'm able to shield this, farm it down, and then all I need to do is land an Earthquake on the Magnezone. I'm going to be able to take this match here. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Hopefully some of these team comps can help you out in Master League, whether you're playing Open or Premier. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.